Rents slashed across Sydney. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I have my stein of coffee, and I thought we'd have a look at this news.com.au article which is discussing, well, rents getting slashed by significant amounts across Sydney. Now, we looked at in another episode just about properties falling up to 18%, particularly units. And there's talk of some, rents not going down. But here we have another example of rents are getting slashed hard. Some tenants are in arrears. They're worried about getting kicked out. But you should be a crazy landlord to not figure something out, particularly if you're competing to get tenants, particularly if you're competing to get people in, particularly if you've got an apartment that's exactly the same as every other apartment in a building and a big section of your potential clientele aren't arriving in the country. Remember, safe as houses. All of these things come together. Imagine if you're getting $400 less a week on your return for an investment property. That's going to add up. That's going to affect your ability to pay that mortgage. So a tenant's dream. Rents have been slashed by up to $400 per week across inner Sydney. And Sydney rents are insane. I think one person in the comments mentioned he had a brother who was paying $750 a week rent. And you know what we'll do? I will bring up the property council data room. And I really need to hard code this into my Stream Deck. When I'm looking down and pressing buttons, I've got a little device that helps me jump between things because I don't do any post-production. I haven't bothered to put this in. And that's actually funded by all the donations of the viewers, so thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. It makes doing this a lot easier. That's why I churn out so many videos. Keep me out of trouble. Keep me off the streets. Misbehaving. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at some rents here. The median residential house rents. We can see the weighted average is $456. That's the median house rent in Australia. So they're getting cuts of $400 per week in Sydney. So, Sydney, the average is $550. So we're probably looking at some higher end suburbs here. Canberra's the highest at $580. Brisbane, we're down here at $420. And you've got Melbourne at $430. There you go. Darwin is higher than Brisbane, which surprises me. I thought Darwin would be a bit cheaper, but then again, it is a bit remote. So let's have a look at unit rents. And the highest is Sydney at $525. Then you've got Canberra at $480. The average is $455. You've got Melbourne at $430, Hobart at $400, and Brisbane at $395. So our units are more expensive than Darwin, but Darwin houses are more expensive. There you go. Supply and demand. And all of this data is from February 2020 this year. So it's quite recent. But, we'll have to see if we're getting hits of up to $400, if we're getting hashtag rent strike. The market is going to change. It'll be interesting to watch the next update that comes from the Property Council regarding house and unit rents and how that's going to affect just the valuation of some of these properties, everyone. So rising vacancies have turned parts of Sydney into a tenant's dream, where renters are getting unprecedented choice, big discounts, and other unusual perks. Now, these unusual perks, I suspect it's going to mesh into something similar to the retail or commercial, where they give you incentives. Like when we moved into our little retail office area, they gave us an incentive of about $2,500. They paid us, and we used that to buy all of the flooring we put into our office. We put a loose lay vinyl plank flooring so you could take it with you when you left. So, rents are being slashed by up to $400 a week in central Sydney, and tenants have the power to set their own terms on lease lengths, keeping pets as landlords grapple with a vanishing pool of renters and rising vacancies. So this is the market adjusting. This is fantastic. This is what you want to see. Let's just hope the government doesn't intervene. Let's just hope they don't step in going, oh, no. We can't have these landlords copping too much of a hit here. We need to step in and have fixed rents. What do you reckon? Let me know in the comments if you think that could happen. I wouldn't be surprised anymore. Maybe the RBA wants to step in and say, no, we can't have this deflation in rents. We need inflation. Everyone's rent has to go up, double. Let's stop printing these articles. Don't get this news out. No, 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 bad. The Ministry of Royal Misinformation. Housing experts said the market was a tenant's dream and renters held all the aces in price negotiation, particularly within inner suburbs, usually populated with international students, travellers, and hospitality workers. Find My Rental Property Director Melissa Miman said tenants weren't simply getting rent reductions. You can get a better place on better terms, like a shorter lease, or be allowed pets where they weren't previously, she said. Close to 1 in 7 rental units in the CBD and surrounding suburbs were sitting empty last month, with rents an average of 18.4% lower than 3 months ago, SQM research data showed. So we're seeing some units going down by 18%. Now we're seeing rents going down by up to 18%. Property always goes up, apparently. You know, safest houses. Buy a unit in one of these apartments that looks exactly the same like every other. Wow. I mean, it's going to be tough on some people. They're going to struggle to make their mortgage repayments. How long can you last? What's going to happen in September? What's going to happen in September? I guess you can just write off more. You can write off a greater negative gearing if you're not making any income. There was a similar drop in Glebe rents, while on the opposite side of the harbour, units rented in Kirribilli and Lavender Bay dropped by an average of nearly 15% below March levels. Units rent falls in Plymouth, Surrey Hills and Mossman were about 10%. 10%. Renters agent Marcel Weaver of Sydney Rental Search said some properties were available at prices last seen in the mid-2000s. In the mid-2000s. And let's just jump to this chart here to see property prices. I mean, there you go. Look at the growth in property in Sydney. It's gone from 0 on the index in mid-2000, 2005, all the way up to, which one's Sydney? Sydney's the light blue. So it's nearly increased by 100 points on this index. And you're getting rents at that same level. So you'd hate to have bought a property a couple of months ago, beginning of last year even. Or you'd hate to have bought one in 2018, 2017 at the peak. And now, well, you're not doing too well on your rent. That's crazy. Landlords are desperate, she said. There are more properties available near the city than I have ever seen. Finder.com.au Insights Manager Graham Cook said those willing to move were in a good position to upsize. If you've been itching for a nicer place, now could be a good time to take some action, he said. Notice that's always discussing about going to a nicer place. Well, I'd be saying, find a way to save money. Find a way to save money if you can. This is brilliant. You know, reduce your costs. Reduce them now. We're hitting a recession. There's people that don't know how tough a recession is going to be. So best advice would be just to reduce your costs as much as you can, any way you can. Get rid of all those luxuries. All those luxuries. And you'll find out real quick what a luxury is. You really will. But, you know, having a bigger place, that's a luxury. I guess if some people need to upsize, if you've got a growing family, this could be the opportunity. But wow, you know, mid-2000 levels. Mid-2000 levels. Listing records show some of the most heavily discounted properties once commanded weekly rents of over $800 at the 3-bedroom unit on the 12th floor of a building in 591 George Street in the CBD was recently listed for $800 per week, well below the January price of $1,200. So that is a huge hit. A huge hit. $800 per week for a CBD 3-bedroom apartment. That's not unreasonable. That's not unreasonable. For a big family with 2 working professional parents, you could certainly afford it. So there's going to be savings opportunities here that people are going to have to take. Just let it sit there for a couple of months more and offer him $600. On nearby Kent Street, another 3-bedroom unit was recently listed for $990 per week, $260 below the 2017 rent. There you go. And 2017 was when that property would have been valued. You know, all these people saying, buy these properties, you'll be positive revenue. Similar deals were being offered for homes on Elizabeth Street, Clarence Street, while in nearby Ultimo multiple properties were available with more than 100 slashed off the rent. So you can see here that, I mean, just look at the views. Are they even nice views from these places? Are they even nice views from these places? In Sydney's Olympic Park, where close to 1 in 10 rental units are sitting empty, there are multiple apartments with $50 to $100 discounts. It's going to have to get harder, everyone. People are going to have to give more discounts. And remember, we still have this mortgage holiday. We still have JobKeeper. We still have JobSeeker Plus. Sophia Charlam Bullis said she was shocked how easy it was to find a new home to rent with her 2 friends. They secured a home in Marrickville for $100 below their previous weekly rent. We applied for 2 places and got offered both, she said. It was weird to have agents chasing you, making offers. They never used to do that. We felt really lucky. Yeah, I remember when the last time we looked at a place here in Brisbane, even a house, and you'd pretty much have to have your form filled out and offer above to get in. So the market's changed. The market's changed. Nick Fern recently moved into a new apartment in Rushcutter Bay and also said agents had started phoning him, which they never did before. So they're going to have the agents having to work for their money, which is good. Good. You know, they'll learn. Lang and Simon's Potts Points, head of property management, Rachel Nicole, said landlords tended to offer discounts for security of tenure, as lengthy vacancies were often costlier than cutting rents. Well, there you have it. There you have it. Mid-2000 levels, everyone. Mid-2000 levels. I think that's the most drastic takeaway here. So what's that going to do to these properties? How long can they keep them? How many are empty? Well, so here's the thing. This shows you your only point of difference in a huge building like this is the price you offer, essentially. Sure, you might pay a little bit more for a higher view, maybe 10 or 20 bucks, but your price is the only point of difference. So there's going to be more competition, and more people will move in together, more people will save money. What do you think? And how will this affect property? How will this affect property? What are all the spruikers saying? You know, the ones that are saying put everything in property, that have built all their fortune in property, that have a complete vested interest in arguing for the push up. If you're hitting 18% lower rent, and this is just the beginning of the recession. Well, as always, please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. Simply interacting with the channel is a great way to help it grow. You can support us financially by joining the channel on YouTube or Patreon, using our affiliate links at Amazon or eBay or Independent Reserve and Kucoin, buying our merch from HeiseSays, using Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or supporting us via PayPal. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you in the next episode.